Now, if you're into cars, most of you will know by now that the new BMW 1 Series is front-wheel drive, and it replaced its much-beloved rear-wheel drive predecessor. Journalists, of course, immediately went on a rant about how it's not a proper BMW, and I have to admit before going into this review, I agreed with them. However, during this review, you'll see me come to the realisation that I and many others have been totally wrong about this car. Let's get into it then. My name's Tom, and you're watching Paragon Cars. Let's go. On Instagram, so if you want to see behind the scenes footage, weekly updates and some of the stuff we've got for sale, click the link in the description below. Anyway, let's get started. The new BMW 1 Series shares its chassis with the latest Mini, but don't worry, the rest is BMW through and through, including of course the gaping nostrils at the front. Those nostrils feed air into the zippy little 3-cylinder engine under the bonnet. In this car it produces 136 horsepower and 220 Nm of torque. Certainly not a lot by today's standards, but it is a light car, so it should still fare pretty well. Let's have a look at the 30 to 70 Sprint and see what she can do. Well, all in all, I'd say that's plenty for daily driving. 8.02 seconds is the time we managed, and yeah, it's not going to blow your socks off, but it's plenty to zip in and out of traffic with. Now, the interior, this is where BMW really went to work, and I have to say, it does look $1 million in here, doesn't it? Not only that though, it feels extremely high quality. Compare this to the latest generation Audi A3 or Mercedes A-Class, and you'll be surprised to find that the BMW actually feels a bit more upmarket. The iDrive is easy to use, there's physical controls for the climate, and there's plenty of storage. The only thing I'm not too keen on is the design of the digital cockpit. The information is clear enough, but it lacks the customization of its competitors. Then moving to the back, it's still fundamentally a small car, so it's not going to be brilliant for adults, but I'd still be happy doing just about a couple of hours back here. You even get 2 new USB-C ports and your own climate vents. However, unfortunately there is no armrest as standard, but you can get it as an optional extra, such as the rest of German manufacturers. Anyway, now let's look at the boot though, as this surprised me in more ways than one. Firstly, it's electrically operated, an electric boot on a 1 Series, very posh. Secondly, the features back here are fantastic. You get tie-down points, a properly flat load floor, plenty of underfloor storage, and even a cutout to put your parcel shelf into for when you don't need it. This is actually probably one of the best thought out hatchback boots I've seen so far, so well done to BMW on that front. What about the drive though? What realisation did I come to? Let's find out. Okay then, the new BMW 118i. I'm interested to see if this is in any way different from the old car. The old car just being better in every conceivable way. Of course I'm joking. Of course it's not better in every possible way, but the difference is staring us right in the face. Front wheel drive versus rear wheel drive, and yeah, if you're a fan of rear-wheel drive cars with bigger engines, the older 1 Series is kind of just better then. But yeah, so far, going over speed bumps, one thing that is better in this new one is the suspension by quite a substantial margin. Getting out the old 1 Series, it kind of had a bit of a pogo effect thing going on with it. This feels much more sorted, much more planted. One thing I noticed that's pretty odd is this has no gear shift paddles. This is an M Sport car, so I kind of thought it would come with that. It's obviously a different optional extra that you have to pay for. Unsurprising with BMW. This car was made in the era where they decided to charge you for things that you had already paid for, which I didn't really understand. So yeah, like the adaptive headlights on this car, the previous owner spec'd the adaptive headlights, so you would assume you would get a car with adaptive headlights, and that's what he got. He then goes to activate the adaptive headlights, and they do nothing. It says you have to pay an extra £200 flat fee to actually use them, even though they're already fitted to the car. Amazing. Truly extraordinary, isn't it? Right, in terms of parking, I'm guessing it's going to be a bit better than the old one. Visibility, yes, it's a little bit better because it's just a bit more ergonomically designed, and you know, you've got slightly bigger windows, nice reverse camera. This one's a fairly high spec model, so you do get lots of bits and bobs. You get the reverse assistant as well, which, I don't know, I mean, for some drivers I think it might be quite useful. I do feel though, like, if you get into a space that you think you can't get out of, should you really be driving? But, you know, I'm not one to judge. But yeah, parking's very easy. It's a very small car. Once you're in a space, you've got loads of room to get in and out. Very good for a city. Also noticing, very quiet here for a little car as well. Very quiet. Anyway, now the proper test coming out of junctions. So do we have hill hold assist? Yes we do. Let's turn that on. Start stop won't turn off the engine yet for some reason. But yeah, half throttle out of a junction. And I mean it does the job. Lack of grip. Engine sounds alright actually. I kind of like the sound of 3 cylinders. They sound quite raughty. And yeah, it kind of does the job. Okay, start stop's working now. That's the one thing I wanted to test, because my colleague said that the start stop in this is a bit slow. So let's see what happens when it tries to turn the engine back on again. Before we do that, let's reset our MPG. Now, on the combined cycle, it says on BMW's website this will do 53 miles per gallon, which is a bit better than the old 118i, mainly because this is front-wheel drive. You've got less drivetrain loss, all that kind of jazz. Oh, sorry, not less drivetrain loss, but just it's a bit lighter, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, start-stop, I didn't really notice much, to be honest. It kind of works like all start-stop systems, poorly, which is why most of the time you're supposed to turn it off. It doesn't really save you much fuel as well, all that start-stop stuff. But yeah, steering so far, typical BMW. It's got that kind of sporty feel to it, but it's not, you know, brimming with texture. You have to get an M car to get any of that. But yeah, I mean, for driving around town, perfectly fine. Nice, comfortable, quiet, no rattles so far. This bit of road usually brings out any kind of rattles in cars. Seating position is a bit higher than I would like, actually. The old one you could get just a little bit lower, you felt like you were kind of sitting in it. This, it's definitely got that front wheel drive feeling where you kind of feel like you're almost in a mini SUV. I notice a lot of front wheel drive cars have that for some reason. It's a nice interior though, isn't it? And they've certainly done a good amount of work on the inside. I think they had to, because a lot of other owners... Oh, okay. That's the start-stop problem. Yeah. I think mainly because it's a 3-cylinder engine, it feels very rough when it's starting up again. Okay. Look at that. Now, that bit of road there will bring out loads of rattles in pretty much any car, even really expensive ones. And I didn't notice anything actually in this. Could be just because it's fairly new, but even new cars do rattle sometimes. So it's quite impressive really for a small little car like this. Especially considering we're riding on 19-inch wheels as well. Anyway, let's go towards the motorway, and obviously before we get on the motorway, let's take it around a roundabout, get the traction off, get it in Sports Plus, see how this little thing handles. Okay, Sports mode, traction off, and because I've got no pedals, I'm going to have to do some rally style shifting. Gearbox is just in Sports now, but I can do it manually. I'm just going to leave it in Sports mode, just for now, just to see how it handles. See if I can do big skids in this thing. Probably not, being front wheel drive. Wait, Wait for traffic to go. Plant your foot. Response from the engine, not bad. Front end grip. Oh, wow, it does pull you around the corner, I'll give it that. And there's the speed limit. So yeah, performance is fine for daily driving. And yeah, it holds the road well. I'll give it that. More exciting than the old one? No, it's just not, sorry. But yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it handles well. It handles like, well, basically like a little hot hatch. Obviously, I think the 128 Ti, I'd like to review one of those actually, because that actually sounds quite exciting. Ooh, just going over that bump there was a bit of feel from the steering that you certainly don't get in the old one. Not bad. Anyway, a Tesla police car. That's quite cool. I won't be doing many long distance chases in that. Right, where's this lorry going? Go on, sort yourself out, mate. Whilst he's doing that, let's go into Eco Pro and see if we can get 53 miles per gallon out of this thing. This is the one dash design I never really gelled with BMWs. It's only in Eco though, like in normal mode it's fine, but like here I just kind of want a rev counter. This whole MPG thing is just a bit odd to me. But yeah, coming on the motorway, see if we can get past this lorry. Plant my foot in Eco, and yeah, it's got like the perfect amount of power for daily driving. Basically, you're never going to feel shortchanged with this thing. Visibility coming onto the motorway is good. Now, the thing that is really nice, for me at least, is the lack of road noise. We are riding on 19-inch wheels, and to me at least, this feels very close to being as quiet as an Audi A4 inside. And if you've ever driven one of those, you'll know that that is, well, near silent inside. So yeah, for a 1 Series to be close to an Audi A4 is very impressive. To me, at least perceivably, this is identical to the F-Series 3 Series, like the previous generation BMW 3 Series, in terms of sound isolation, which is very impressive. Also, wind noise, getting a tiny bit from up here, but it really is like barely noticeable at all. I think it's only at higher speeds you might notice it. But sound insulation, definitely better than the old car. I think this is kind of the theme that is going to play throughout the video, is that for a daily driver it's a bit easier to live with, but it's just not going to be as fun, basically. Yeah, very nice. Seats, yeah, they're fairly comfortable. To me, the seating position was actually better in the old car though. I felt like I could get lower, and for some reason the bolsters on this, just like even on their widest setting, it's not that they pinch you, it's just that they kind of, I don't know, it just feels a bit odd to me. They don't feel quite as comfortable. Yeah, let's see what it's like around this little corner here. This is a good little test. Just in eco mode. Trail brake it in. Yeah, I can find my line well. I can feel the inside rear tyre lifting, which is nice. That's what you want from your front wheel drive car. Little bit of chassis balance. There's the front end going. But yeah, the level of grip is very impressive actually. I'll actually say it's a bit better than my previous car, which was a Seat Leon Cupra, and that had loads of grip. Anyway, let's get on to the motorway and I will join you guys in about 15 minutes. to an end of our little motorway journey, and we're currently sitting at 46.6 mpg, which fundamentally is quite good in the grand scheme of things. However, it does say on the combined cycle, remember, not just motorway, that this will do 53 miles per gallon. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that you'd get that sitting at around 60 to 70 miles an hour eventually. However, on the extra urban cycle, on the motorway, which is what we're doing now, it says you can do 61 mpg. I don't think you're going to get that. Let's think, well, these 118i engines, even the previous generation version, they never quite get the figures they claim. I think it's just because they're always working fairly hard at higher speeds. So yeah, fuel economy is fine. It's bearable. It's not going to cost an arm and a leg to run, but I do think it could be a bit better. Anyway, let's now get on to the more important stuff, which is driving this thing on a beat road. Okay, we're in sports mode, traction is fully off. Let's see what this thing is about. I'm going to do some rally style shifting as well. Nice response from the engine, even though it's a little 3-cylinder. Steering is nice. Look at that, plenty of front end grip, I must say. Even for a front wheel drive car, you can just plant your foot and it seems to just grip and go. Bang. And the gearbox, I'll admit I prefer the ZF 8-speed. I think it's just a bit nicer, a bit smoother. This one upshifts. I don't know if they've artificially put some kind of jerkiness into it to make it feel sporty, but it just kind of makes it feel like it's not working very well, in all honesty. But for a little 3-cylinder engine, it's got fairly good performance. In from like second gear, that's not bad really. Steering for a front-wheel drive car is very nice. Not a lot of feel, but it feels very tight, very sharp. So you kind of know what's going on really, which is pretty nice. Okay, where are these guys going? They must be reviewing a Kia Picanto. So yeah, coming around this corner here. Foot down. Oh yeah, really bites into the road, that's nice. It feels so funny doing like a little doop, change gears. Ooh, downshift. Okay, brakes absolutely massive on this for some reason, so when you get to the 100-yard marker, yeah, I mean it's they're good basically. Coming around here, bit of traffic today, about to go around again. There is plenty of grip though, wow. Feels nice and sharp. That's where it is just better than the old car is the suspension, deals with bumps a bit better, steering, even though it's front wheel drive, seems to have more feel somehow. Usually front wheel drive cars are a bit more compromised. It just feels a bit tighter. To me, this feels like a hot hatch, but it's just missing a bit of power from the engine. So I'm guessing like the 128 Ti is probably the perfect setup for this thing. I'd love to have a go on one of those. But this is great. Right. Once some cars get out of the way, hopefully, can really put this thing through its paces. And that is nice. Okay, so around here, let's give it the beans. Okay. Almost zero understeer. Like, you can kind of twerk the wheel a bit to kind of feel where the front wheels are in terms of grip, but yeah, the handling of this is very settled. Nice Not overly firm suspension, but fairly sporty. This is good. Really good, actually. Okay, what if I tap the brake? Yeah, see, the back end doesn't really want to come out, which is interesting. But wow, the level of grip on the front is astonishing. It's like really good. Yeah, you could get up to some pretty serious speed before you're running out of grip in this thing. So for an everyday driver, that's actually really good, because you kind of just want it to be safe but feel nice to drive, and this does both of those things really. Like, yeah, brake it into a corner. One thing I do kind of want as a driver though is for the rear to come round just a little bit more. Thing is, it's not understeering though. Like a Volkswagen Golf, if you go around that corner, it will just start braking away at the front, which is very safe, but it's very boring. Whereas this, it kind of just keeps going. Like, my foot was flat through that entire corner then. Nice. I've just noticed I just keep going round, which must mean I'm having fun, I suppose. I would like... I just want to see if the rear does come round, actually. I think you know, the chassis is so capable, you probably just need more power to do it. Alright, let's just go round once more, actually. Get away from all the traffic. Yeah, it just tightens its line if you come off the throttle. Really impressive levels of grip. And the thing is, because it feels quite nice to drive, it's quite good fun. But you're not being silly at the same time. I think I'm comparing this to the wrong car. Yes, the BMW 1 Series, as in the old one, I would say it's just more fun, because it's just rear-wheel drive. And rear-wheel drive is just, you know, being driven out of a corner always feels a bit nicer than front-wheel drive, I think. However, this compared to a VW Golf or the latest Audi A3, pretty much any other front-wheel drive hatch actually, this is really good. I should be comparing this to the Golf and the Audi. And compared to those cars, I was like, yeah, this is better, actually. This is better than an Audi A3. I never thought I'd say that. Right, let's take this down a smaller B road actually and really test the suspension, because this is where Audis usually do very well, especially cars like that S3 that's just gone past. And if it can do well there, then this is actually a very decent thing indeed. Okay, let's test out the suspension. Third gear, yeah, plenty of low down torque. Steering again, you get little bits of texture from the road. Has to be a fairly large bump to do that though. As you can see, you can get up to the national speed limit fairly quickly. What's it like over this bump? Do you know what? Really good. Really good actually. Like genuinely really good. Okay, trail brake into a corner, downshift. Foot down. Very nice. This is a little bit of a weapon. Okay, can we make it to 60 before the corner? I don't think we're going to. Nope, not quite. Doesn't quite have the legs. Oh, but the front end turn-in is wonderful in this. And now we're stuck behind a lorry. Overall though, this handles like a really well sorted hot hatch. And this is just a 118i M Sport. Like, not supposed to be anything super special. But it is very nice to drive, actually. Very nice. Okay, one last time. Little bit of torque steer, nothing major though. The accuracy though of the steering is really impressive. You know exactly where this thing is at all times. And deals with bumps like that fantastically. Really controls its body well. Okay, yeah. I get this car. So, interior wise, to me it feels like it's better quality than the latest Audi A3. It just does. Feels a bit better put together. Also compared to the Golf, obviously, feels a bit better put together. Technology is a little bit nicer as well. I prefer the iDrive over the latest VW system. You don't have that silly air conditioning stuff going on in this car. It's all physical switches, which is very nice. And to drive, fantastic, actually. Really, really good. Suspension, better than the old car. Arguably better than the Audi A3 as well. And certainly a lot better than the Mercedes A-Class. That's just designed for comfort, really. Yeah, this is really nice to drive. Gearbox, honestly, it doesn't really let the car down either. Yes, the ZF8 speed is a bit nicer to live with, I think, compared to this gearbox, but this still feels sharp. It's not jerky at lower speeds. I'm really struggling to fault this. Honestly, I am. This is like genuinely a really quite a good bargain, even though it seems quite expensive at first. When you compare it to its competitors, it starts to make a hell of a lot of sense, actually. Anyway, let me digest my thoughts, and I'll come back to you guys with a conclusion. So overall, yes, I still love the old 1 Series, and I always will. However, I, like many of you watching, are a minority when it comes to cars. Heck, the majority of the older 1 Series buyers didn't even know their cars were rear-wheel drive. So for BMW, switching to the more profitable layout was a no-brainer, really. What I'm happy about, though, is that they knew by making this car, there would be the few, you and me, that would be saddened by the move to a front-wheel drive layout. And in that realisation, they clearly put a huge amount of effort into making this a truly fantastic hatchback, and one that I personally think gives its competitors a serious run for their money, and something to learn from. As always, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, give it a like and why not subscribe, as not only can you see more content like this, you can see everything we have for sale, which still includes this BMW 118i. My name's Tom, and you've been watching Paragon Cars. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.